Hello, my name is Eve, and I'm Eve from the Bible, and today we'll be talking on my podcast about Addison's disease. Okay, so we first have to understand what it is. This is a disorder into which there's destruction of all the layers of your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands are responsible for releasing cortisol, aldosterone, and your gonad hormones. One second, I'm sure I'm not gonna say it. And okay, androgens. It's called androgens, so like DHEA and androstenedione, which can then be converted to testosterone and estrogen. Okay, so when I say the sex hormone, estrogen for women and testosterone for men, but however the adrenal glands ain't releasing testosterone in the adrenal gland, it goes to the testes in the men to be transformed into testosterone. It gives the men their deep voice, their masculine appearance, and things like that, and estrogen as well as with the woman. So when you have Addison's disease, for a woman, it's more profound in women. Okay, you'll lose your ability to have your cycles. Okay, you need to amenorrhea without a cycle. Okay, so anywho, sorry to get it all spaced out like that, but yeah. So there's a primary and a secondary route into which you will get Addison's disease. The primary deals specifically with the adrenal gland itself, meaning that there is something targeting the adrenal gland on its own. Okay, and some primary reasons as to why the adrenal gland can be destroyed. We have adrenal cortex injury. So you might have a car accident. You might have autoimmune disease that's targeting your adrenal glands where it's injured. Okay, what else? Adrenal metastasis, like say you have a tumor somewhere in your lungs or in your breast or something like that, and it breaks off and travels to the adrenal gland and destroys the adrenal glands. You can have adrenal hemorrhage, and this is when a bacteria is eating your adrenal gland, causing it to bleed. Okay, like that. Hysteria is that bacteria there. Is anything else? Okay. So again, we got autoimmune diseases with adrenal injury, got adrenal cortex injury. We have adrenal infections, like if you got TB or had TB. If you have HIV, this can mess with that. Okay, so again, with primary, there is something that, like targeting the adrenal gland itself. Primary, there's something else. I mean, secondary, there's something else preventing the adrenal glands from functioning the way they should. And let's talk about those real quick. Because when we talk about these, we're going to get on to why cortisol, aldosterone, and your sex hormones that the adrenal gland releases, what happens if they're not being released, if they're being destroyed, okay? But we have to understand that there are methods or ways into which your adrenal glands can get destroyed, okay? So the primary, again, is where it is on the adrenal gland itself that's preventing the release of your hormones that come from the adrenal glands. And again, those are adrenal cortex injury that's directly happening to the adrenal gland, okay? Adrenal injury, there's something, your autoimmune, those antibodies are targeting your adrenal gland cells, okay? Adrenal infections like TB, HIV, okay? And adrenal hemorrhage, where the bacteria is destroying your adrenal gland. And then we have adrenal metastasis, okay? Where the tumors break off and travel to that area and destroy. For the metastasis, there has to be both adrenal glands have to be 90% affected for this to be considered a tumor for that, okay? All right, so now let's talk about the secondary causes of adrenal insufficiency. But just know, Addison's disease is the primary, okay? Okay, now, hold on. Secondary adrenal insufficiency problem is that it's something with the hypothalamus or the pituitary gland, okay? The pathway into which cortisol or aldosterone and things like that, it starts in the hypothalamus.